as you mentioned, you have some good sponsors and all the accomplishments that you made mention a little bit earlier in your racing career. So far, so good. I mean, but do you like fenders?
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, open wheel modifieds, like they said, it's different. You know, you gotta drive a little different. And you see wrecks, you don't want to. Sometimes you don't want to swerve away from it, like clip a tire off or something. But I like the modified with the open wheel front ends. That's pretty fun to race with.
Very important, of course, over at Stafford Motor Speedway and any racetrack that you go to. When you ran SK Lights, you didn't have a spotter. So now, in 2014, moving up to the Premier Division at Stafford SK Modifieds, you'll have a spotter that will be high up above the racetrack watching you. Did you already picked out your spotter?
Yeah, we have Muffy spotting for us this year.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's gonna be different on a spotter.
You're in good hands.
Yeah, it's gonna be different on a spotter, so it'll be cool to find out what it's like and see what it's like.
As you were growing up, as you're still a kid, but like I said, you accomplished a lot that you wouldn't think so. But who in racing have you looked up to, whether it be on a local level or a national level?
I mean, like, I look at people like Denny Hamlin or like Carl Edwards, people that just don't get everything handed. I like people that can come up through the ranks, they don't have a ton of money, and they just drive. That's what they want to do. They want to drive for what they get. And, you know, it's hard these days, like I said, with the money, but when you see someone that earns it, that's what I like about it.
And Ricky and I, of course, we know a driver that's worked very hard to get to where he is and his accomplishments, Keith Rocco.
Yeah, I mean, he works all the time on his cars and everything else. We talked about it last week and stuff, but you know, how much dedication the kid puts into his cars and whatnot. And I mean, it's just, he's doing everything he possibly can to get himself going. And I mean, as of right now, he's got really good sponsors and everything else in this level of racing. And I mean, he's good right now. Of course, I'm sure he'd want to go a little bit bigger if he could, but right now he's MRS car, tour car, SK. So I mean, he's doing everything possible he could do to forward his career.
Going back when you tested the SK modified, what was the horsepower like when you first got out there?
Yeah, it was a little bit different. It was basically 100 horsepower different from last year, and it wasn't. I kind of like it. I like the throttle control difference, but between SK Light to SK, you got to use the pedal a little bit more, which is one of my favorites. I like.
Did you know at one time that Ricky actually drove a race car?
No, I did not.
Well, I don't know if we actually say it drove me. It basically drove me around the track. So.
How many years did you drive?
I only drove like 10 races. It was just 1 year. I was just going out there, and you know, there was certain moments where I was running with the guys. As long as they had me boxed in and controlled me, then I was fine. But if I was in the open, I went in 2-3 car lanes deeper than I was supposed to go, pushed up to the fence, and it was just a mess.
And of course, Ricky's worked with a handful of race teams as a crew chief, of course, with Eric Burnt and other race teams as well. And of course, Ricky fabricates bodies for race cars.
Yeah, I make bodies for a lot of different cars and all the racetracks, different divisions and stuff like that. Whatever it is, you know, I try to help out, you know, the little guys too. Because some guys that they have older cars, and they can't find anybody to make the panels for them anymore because they're the old things and nobody bothers with them. But I just try, you know, I'll copy them. I'll make whatever people want to go racing. I mean, it's not just about making money. It's just I like racing.
Right, exactly. Chase, you're going to be going for Rookie of the Year honors. Tony Membrino Jr. will also be going for Rookie of the Year as well. How many other drivers do you know right now that will be rookies in the SK Modifieds at Stafford?
Ronnie Williams, Troy Talman. There's a ton of people just moving up, which is good. There's a lot of people from SK Lights is moving up, which is pretty cool to see racing against other people I raced against last year.
And you know, when they first came out with the SK Light division, going back a handful of years, Ricky and I had talked about it many times. Certainly, that was a great division for drivers like yourself to come into a division like that to get your feet wet in open wheel modifieds.
Yeah, it's an awesome division to start out. If you want to start out racing, start out with an SK Light and get your feet wet, like you said. It's pretty good. Like from open practice, you can see the differences. You can convert over, and there's not too much, but there is. And obviously, the competitors get a lot bigger when you get to SK. But it's not bad.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of pressure on like the rookie guys and stuff like that because of the points and everything else. Because there's so many cars at Stafford this year, they're gonna be sending cars home. So, I mean, you get into one little altercation or something like that, it's not that, you know, you're not good enough, it's just the pressure that you're gonna have to put on yourself to try to get that spot. It's gonna be different. It's good. Like back in the early 2000s, there was 60 cars that used to go to the racetrack.
Sure,
At Stafford.
exactly.
There was 50 plus to 60 cars. They had that 21 race just so guys could have a race.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's going to be tough again. You know, it looks like Stafford's turning the corner anyway, getting a lot of people to go to the racetrack. So it's going to be tough on the kids this year.
No question about it. We're with Chase Dowling. He's moving up to the SK Modifieds for the 2014 season. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll talk to Rocky Arbitel, longtime supporter of short track racing and competitors. Also coming up a little bit later on, we're going to talk to Scott Zipadelli, the crew chief for Kyle Larson in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And also here in our Waterbury studio, the president of the Summer Nights Car Club, John Jerish, who's a former modified driver. We'll talk to John about going way back to the Sizzler days, back when the Sizzler was 80 laps for the modifieds, and we'll talk some more about the Spring Sizzler coming up this coming weekend over at Stafford Motor Speedway. Check out their website for any other additional information pertaining to the Spring Sizzler. Back with Chase Dowling. Now, if you had a chance, if somebody offered you, say, a late model ride over at Stafford Motor Speedway, we've seen some drivers doing that, would you take them up on that offer?
Of course, anything. I'm just a kid that wants to race, and anything that comes my way, I'll take it.
Absolutely.
When you're lining up to go out for practice this year, is there one particular guy you're going to try to drive out behind just in case, just to see how he's driving it?
I know what you're talking about. You try to follow that guy, and you got Ryan Priest. The kid's awesome. He races at Stafford. He knows that track like the back of his hand. You got Keith Rocco, of course, Woody. But Woody's funny to watch from behind because he's a character and a half. But Ryan Priest knows the track like the back of his hand, like I said.
Yeah, this is going to be one of them things you're going to be, because you got all these guys, but it's all different types of driving styles when you get behind them. It's like you get behind Teddy Christopher. Teddy's the type of guy where Keith is the same way, where they could be pitched sideways going into the corner, and they're still trying to maintain top speed. And then you get guys like Ryan Priest, like you said, or Woody, that they'll just try to slow the car down or do something gradual with the car to keep up their speed. So it's going to be who do you get behind and see how they control their cars and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll find out. I gotta experience that when I get out there and see what someone drives like me, what kind. That'd be good baseline of someone.
And we were talking earlier, is there a guy you want to throw another shout out or somebody?
Yeah, Doug Dunleavy, guy's awesome guy. He joined last year and he's awesome. He's an awesome guy to me. Brings sponsorship to the table. Dunleavy Trucking Trailer Repair. Guy's awesome. He's been with me down North Carolina. Just awesome guy around. He helps out the racing community a lot. You got a ton of guys he sponsors. Max Zackham, Todd Zaggity, the Smugio team. Just an awesome guy to be around. He helps me out a lot.
Yeah, and of course, on the number 2 car on the Windmill Modified Tour that Doug Colby drives, also involved with Todd over in the Valente Modified Racing Series. Speaking of the Valente Modified Racing Series, congratulations going out to Rowan Pennick, who picked up the MRS win this past weekend over at the Monadnock Speedway. And a big shout out to Mike Christopher Jr., who won his first ever Legends race Saturday night over at the Waterford Speedway. So congratulations going out to Mike Christopher Jr. and Tyler Chadwick, who picked up a victory, Ricky, Saturday night over at the Waterford Speedway. Congrats going out to him.
He held off Keith, and there was a lot of laps left too, and he held him off to the end, and there wasn't any. I talked to some people that were at the racetrack because I didn't go, but they said it was a good race, where it was a clean race, and it was. But I mean, Keith, he might be coming in second, but he's at the top of the game right now. I mean,
First and 2 seconds in the SKs and 3 straight wins in the late model division over at Waterford driving Scott Fern's car.
yeah, and unless something happens, I don't think any good is going to beat him in that late model down there.
No, I think you're right. I think you're exactly right. I mean, cars.
Unless that car breaks or something, I don't know. Fern got that thing hooked up right down there.
I mean, you got some other good competitors in the late model division over there. You got Jason Palmer and several others. So
You got good guys, but every once in a while, just like Timmy Jordan when he was running there, he had the fastest car. And
Bruce Thomas.
Bruce Thomas. It was like if he got out front, forget it. It was over. And you get situations like that where guys will find out something that works for the track right then, and they just dominate the division.
So Chase, a couple more minutes with you, and talking about you being a rookie contender in 2014 in the SK Modified Division at Stafford. Did they talk to any of the rookies that came out to the practice? Did they get you guys aside or anything like that?
No, not really. It's just open practice. I mean, you just really just want to shake your car down.
Right.
It's really nice when you go there. It's really low key and just really take your time. It's a nice 6-hour practice.
And I'm sure they will be having a rookie meeting once we get into the season here, probably maybe Saturday morning or Sunday morning.
Yeah, there'll be a ton of guys. There's just so many rookies, and that's why the car count's just going up and up. These rookies are coming in, and SK is going to be hard to win at Stafford this year for sure.
Okay. Well, congratulations on moving up to an SK Modified Premier Division at Stafford Motor Speedway, and good luck in 2014.
Thank you.
Okay, Chase Dowling here in our Waterbury studio at WATR 1320 AM. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk to a gentleman that's been around auto racing for a long, long time, Rocky Arbitell. He's next.
There's nowhere else but Shaler Acura in Manchester. Visit Connecticut's first Acura dealer and find out why
Rocky, all
Shaler
set?
Acura is
Trying to downplay it.
the 14-time Acura Precision Team Dealer of the Season Award winner. Awarded by Acura for outstanding sales
I always try to get the
and
sponsors,
Shaler,
the
their
engine
low-pressure
builders, the chassis guys, you know.
makes
Because
one of the new
that's
or
where we start.
certified pre-owned
You
Acura
gotta have that out
Plus,
there.
Shaler
I know I sound like a broken record because I'm always talking about it all the time,
Monday
but
through Thursday until 8 p.m.
you gotta try to get that
and
out there.
Saturdays until 4 p.m. for your convenience. And now get the same award-winning service on any make or model. Visit their state-of-the-art modern facility today. Just minutes from Hartford. Take exit 60 off I-84. Turn right at the end of the exit. Go 2 miles on the left, or check out their great selection of new or pre-owned vehicles online at ShalerAcura.com, or reach them by calling 860-647-7077. Nowhere else but Shaler Acura, Manchester.
The Embroidery Works is a full-service embroidery company supplying Central Connecticut custom corporate apparel and import fabrics since 1998. Whether it's embroidery, screen printing, AMS workwear, team carpet, team clothing, or promotional products,
At least this is out in the open now.
Okay.
Guys, I want to come back to the show, but I wanted to wait till after all this stuff is
all
over.
bearing your custom logo.
Because I don't want them to say you're doing anything for me or working with you. I mean, I've got enough trouble with Sean saying as it is, because I've been
Call
Make sure you
Embroidery
take
Works
that
at
out.
860-747-9802. That's 860-747-9802. Now at 333
Well, no, I-
Exit Street.
If I feel it,
For Embroidery Works. Visit them online at embroideryworksct.com. Welcome back to the Speedway Line Report, presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut.
Your car, your choice, the Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
Welcome back, everyone. Gary Danko, right here in our Waterbury studio, right alongside my co-host, Rocket Rick Rotundo from R&R Fabrication. We just heard from Chase Dowling, as he'll be moving up to an SK Modified for 2014 over at Stafford Motor Speedway. Now jumping into our guest seat, a gentleman that's been around auto racing for many, many years. Big supporter of short track racing, and he's been with a lot of competitors over the years. And Rocky Arbitell now joins us. Rock, how are you? Good to
how
see
you doing, Gary?
I'm doing very well. You've been around racing a long time, been with a lot of race cars. Jimmy Broderick, you guys won the 98 championship over at Riverside Park Speedway. You won a championship with him over at Stafford Motor Speedway. Then you were with his son Bubba. You've been with Jeff Connors. You're also involved with Chase Dowling that we just heard from. You've been involved with other drivers as well.
Yeah, we've been sponsors and race fans for quite a while, me and my wife. My wife is actually a better fan than me. She's the one that's really into this game. I'd just like to say one thing before we start getting a lot of questions thrown at me. I want to say this to all the fans of Waterford Speedboat. This has been a very hard situation. I'm a racing fan. I know how most of you people feel, and in no way do me and my wife want to see that track or my partner close. So I want that clear as we start these questions that I'll get tonight, because we're not in favor of any racetracks being closed. So believe me, that's coming from my heart, and it's honestly the way we feel.
And of course, your business partner, Peter Borelli, which a lot of people don't know who he is. I got the chance to meet him once, going back a few years ago. But let's talk about, a lot of people kind of know what's going on from what they see in social media. They do see some other things here and there, whether it's in newspaper articles. But the latest thing that came out, of course, the property there where Waterford Speedway lies is was in the Wall Street Journal. Tell us about that. What's the reason for putting it there in the Wall Street Journal? Of course, not you. Who comes up with that? Is it the realtor or is it the current owner?
No, what happened was, I guess the lawyers all met, Terry's lawyer, my lawyer, the other investors' lawyers, and they decided they had to advertise it. And they picked a real estate company that would be ahead of this, and I guess that's where he chose one of the places to advertise. I could advertise myself legally. I mean, I just couldn't get a commission. So anybody could, the place is for sale. It's point blank, it's for sale. He's put a price on it. That's his price that he wants. But we're just waiting to see what develops. I don't think anybody's going to bite at that price, especially when it's going to go to auction on October 18th of this year.
Okay, and of course, I mean, you wanted it to go to auction back in April, but things didn't go down the pike the way you wanted it to.
Right. Me and my partner, when we loaned Terry this money, and we had a contract with him. We were the heroes, if everybody remembers, when we saved the track at that time. The contract wasn't lived up to. We had a clause in our contract that stated very clearly that we would be paid off within 3 years. Well, at that time I was 62 when I started this thing. I'm 69 now. We're 7 years down the tube, and we're still not over. We just like to get our money. I go to Stafford every week. I like to watch the races. I did a guy a favor, and I just want my money back.
Right, you and your business partner,
Right.
Peter
Yeah, that's
Borelli.
exactly right.
And of course, there are some other people involved, not with you and Peter, but other creditors.
Right. There's 5 other investors right behind us. Okay. You keep hearing, everybody keeps hearing that Rocky Arbitel's got to get paid off at this $1.2 million. Well, that total payoff is well over $2 million right now, because the other people got to get paid off. Our foreclosure's in place. First, if I was bought out tomorrow, there's 2 more foreclosures right in place, because the other investors are going after their money too. It's not only me.
Rick?
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying from the beginning, Rock, I don't think there's anybody that knows you or been to the racetrack that would think that you're not for racing. I mean, there's just no way that, some people are saying that you just want to shut it down, that's not it at all. I mean, it's not even close to that. So it's been a long, ongoing thing for you guys, and it has to be tough, because someone like you that loves the sport, and you get a headache from it. You're not supposed to, it's always supposed to be fun, and that's what it's about.
We don't even go up there, because I think I've been there a couple times in the last few years, because it's not enjoyable. I sit down at Stafford, people coming up to, what's going on with the track in Waterford? I'm over at Stafford to watch the race. I'm not interested in this. That's a business deal. It's too bad that the public's got to keep feeling that this track's going to go. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that this thing stays as a racetrack.
Now let me ask you, Rock, say somebody came in there, I guess the listing for the property was $3.3 million. Okay, if somebody came in tomorrow and they put up the $3.3 million, what from there?
That's a problem. That's definitely a problem now.
Why?
Because you got a legitimate buyer. If you say no, that would mean you were going to owe the real estate commission to the broker that brought the buyer in. So Yeah, that's definitely a problem.
Well, it's gonna be tough, because I mean, even if they go to sell the track, let me put it this way, if they sold the track before it goes to foreclosure, I would have to say 99.9% sure that it's not going to be a racetrack. If someone put up that kind of money for that area there, to buy it now, they'd be looking as an investment for something else besides the racetrack. Anybody that I think is looking to buy this for the racetrack and to go racing, they're waiting for the auction day, and they're gonna be there with their checkbook and try to get the track.
And you know, Waterford Speedbowl, we all know, we've all been down there, great short track racing there. Car counts, going back to last year, very good. Car counts this year, I believe, are very well up there. And the racing is fantastic, good side-by-side racing there. And, I mean, Ricky, you know, I mean, the SKs, the mini stocks, they all put on a great show. They're all the divisions, the legend cars, their Wednesday night shows that they draw a lot of people in there, the Wild and Wacky Wednesdays that they've been doing now for, I don't know what, maybe 10 years now, I believe. Good crowds, especially after school closes. You get a lot of people, tourists down there that love to come down there, and they like to see some of that, what I call crazy racing on the Wednesday night. Good competitors there as well.
I know some kids that actually, they got out of school early to go down to Waterford to race on Wednesdays. I mean, it's a good track. It's the best two-groove track out of the three in Connecticut. Yes, at Thompson you can pass on the bottom, but you gotta make your move quick. There's ways about it, and then you gotta use the guy up a little bit. Stafford, outside you can get it to work sometimes for a short term or whatever. Waterford, you have outside and inside. You can set it up to go either way, or you can set it up to do both. I mean, it's the best two-groove track out of the three in Connecticut.
Now, Rocky, let's set the stage. Most of us know all the circumstances around it, but it was back in August of '07
Yes.
that I believe Washington Mutual was what, foreclosing?
Foreclosure on the, yeah,
And then that's when you and your business partner, Peter Borelli, came in, take us from there.
yeah. Well, Terry, you know, called me, asked me if I'd be interested in helping him out, save the track. And I said, sure, we'll go along with you. We had a contract made up, and it just hasn't been lived up to. It's as simple as that. I mean, we got it all in black and white. We don't have anything to hide.
Right.
So what's happened is it's just sad. It's really sad. And we've got fed up waiting and hoping we're going to get paid. And if I didn't push it, somebody else was going.
Now, let me ask you, we've been made mention of this many times. You are the first lien holder. What does that mean?
First one, when it goes to auction, we'd be the first ones to get paid. That's all it means. I mean, we could bid as high as we want. We'll start off our bid with what's owed to us, and then it'll go up from there. And I know the guy that's right behind me is definitely going to try to outbid me or work with me. Okay? So, what numbers will it go for? That's hard to tell, but I would imagine it's going to be in the twos.
Now, I'm just asking you, I know it's a while away and things like that. Is that something you're looking for to, if it comes down to it, to own the track itself?
Well, let's put it this way. At no point did I ever want to own this track. But we got 5 other investors that I promised would not lose their money. Okay? So what will happen is, I don't think anybody on the 7 investors wants to own the track. So what my promise was that I would do everything I could to make sure nobody lost their money. So we're going to be sticking it out somewhere in the twos, because it's all of our what's owed to all of us. And then after that, somebody can take us out and we're all gone. That's
Right.
what we're hoping for.
Right, so basically,
Let's say it came out to 2.4 at that time, and nobody bids over the 2.4. Would we be in place to buy it? Yes, probably.
so basically, whatever they're owed is about where your cap is gonna be,
Right.
and honestly, that's about the fair market value I see it being
Of the
at.
place.
So, I mean, you're gonna be right there along the lines. If somebody's gonna outbid you, they're gonna be giving it right at that fair,
Right.
in my eyes, because I mean, I do a lot of construction, I'm on the trade all the time, so I mean, I see a lot of land, and sales and stuff, but I mean, it looks to me like that's around where the fair market is gonna be for that.
As I said before, we're gonna do everything we can to keep this as a racetrack.
Right.
We just want our money. If Terry comes up with 2.5 tomorrow, buys everybody out, or 2.2, whatever's owed, 2.1, we're out of there. We're gone. No hard feelings, and you know, that's the business. That's what's owed to us.
Right, and that's like I was saying earlier, it's a difficult thing to keep business and racing, especially, you know, like I said, when you love the sport.
How true that is. I mean, this has been pressure packed all the way.
Yeah.
And I got my partner. He's not a racer at all. He did me the favor when we wanted to save the track. So I got a guy involved. This guy's money tied up. That never even wanted to go into a racetrack.
Yeah, what racetrack?
Yeah. He doesn't care one bit about racing.
Yeah.
So Rocky, let me ask you, most people probably in racing don't know Peter Borelli. I don't think anybody in this room knows him except for you. What does he think about how long that this has taken? And all the business deals that you've been in and he's been in, is this the first time that you had to go to court over something?
No, I not the first time. For him, probably. For me, no. But the thing here is, what's been the problem is the court system drags. Well, I mean, we started off in state court with the contract. We go to bankruptcy. He goes to bankruptcy. We go to federal court. They throw it out. Now we're back in state court where my contract's back in effect, and it's not followed. It's just not right. It isn't right. If we followed this contract the way it was made, we'd be all done. It'd be over.
And go ahead, Rick.
No, it's tough, because I know what Rocky's saying with some of the stuff with the court things and everything else. It's a tough game, and unfortunately it ends up being a game that you gotta play with these guys,
Exactly.
you know, to get stuff going. Because I know people that have gone to court and everything else over, you know, situations and stuff. And it's just a game. It just depends on, sometimes it depends on who you are, what you're doing, or, you know, who you got behind you, who you got for friends. They go through faster. It's the way it works, and it's tough for guys like Rocky, you know. And the worst thing is hardworking guy put up money to help save the track years ago, and then he's got to fight tooth and nail just to get what he invested back. Doesn't want anything more than that. Doesn't want twice as much back. Just want what he's owed back.
No, I can't say that's true, Rick, all the way. We've had interest built into the system.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
well, I mean,
that's part of the game.
yeah,
I mean,
that's just-
you borrow money, you got to pay interest on it. It's not like you're asking for, you know, your time or anything else that you have involved into it. This is the contract.
There's
that
a
you have.
contract. That's all we want him to live up to.
Right.
And that's
The
it. And
interest
he
that's
hasn't
owed on
done
the
it.
contract. That's all you're asking for, is just what's in the contract,
That's right.
what's owed to you.
And getting back with your business partner, Peter Borelli, what does he think now after this has been dragged out for this long, about racing people in general?
Well, he can't. I don't know if he understands the game. You know, I understand what the guys want to do. The guys want to go out and race. Okay, they're looking for a place to go, and that's it. He can't understand why the guys just don't not go to the track. You know, he doesn't understand that this is their life. They just want to be out there. I understand that. I was a kid. I raced race cars, midgets,
Right.
yeah, micro midgets. So you love what you're doing. It's like everybody says. It's a family thing. I don't think anybody that I know that I talk to wants to see that place closed. Okay, and we don't. And I keep saying it, but we don't, especially. So we'll do everything we can to make sure it comes out that way and stays that track. But like Rick said, now that it's up for sale, nobody can tell who's going to come in there. There's just no way to tell what's going to happen.
Is it, it's what we mentioned, it's in the Wall Street Journal. Is it anywhere else?
Haven't looked at it, but I've heard it's been in other places on the internet and stuff. So I guess it's around.
Okay. Rocky Arbitel here in our Waterbury studio. Of course, Rocky's been around, as you heard him say, racing for a long, long time. He's also been involved with many race teams over the years as a sponsor. And speaking of sponsorship, who are you sponsoring this year?
Well, as you probably know, Chris Jones is on his way back.
Yep.
So he'll be out there with Chase. But our main car that I'll be taking care of this year is trying to keep Jay Stewart on the track.
Jay Stewart in the
Joe,
late model.
he ran out of money last year and wasn't able to complete the season. So this year we're going to try to make sure he stays out there.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll wrap things up with Rocky Arbitel. We're back right after this.
Market for a new Acura? There's only one place to go.
Back to the
Shaler
final
Acura
thoughts.
in Manchester.
And that's,
Shaler is Connecticut's first Acura dealer. Shaler offers the area's best selection of new and pre-owned
Mike,
Acuras.
wait, you normally say mics are cold, camera cold.
Open until 8
John,
o'clock Monday through
you
Thursday.
wanna-
You want to cut it?
If anybody buys that now,
Shaler Acura. 345 Secretary.
Can you hear the audio okay?
Visit them on the web
Okay.
at ShalerAcura.com. Nowhere else but Shaler Acura.
Shaler
Right.
Acura in Manchester has a long-standing commitment to quality and reliability. It's that commitment that makes buying a certified pre-owned Acura from Shaler so satisfying. Every certified Acura from Shaler goes through a 150-point inspection and comes with a 7-year or 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Plus, save on your monthly payments with low finance rates. Nowhere else but Shaler Acura. 345 Center Street, Manchester. Call 860-647-7077 or visit them on the web at ShalerAcura.com. Shaler Acura, Manchester.
which is gonna be tough, all registers and everything.
Welcome back to the Speedway Live Report, presented to you by Shaler Acura.
Stay over by the beer line.
Your car, your choice, the Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be coming up to the top of the hour very shortly, and John Jerish, the president of the Summer Nights Car Club. That's coming up this weekend, actually Sunday, actually the same day as the Sizzler. So if you can't make it to the Sizzler, stop by the car show at the Berlin Fairgrounds. We're going to talk more with John about that. John is a former modified driver. He's helped many race teams over the years. His good friend Scott Zipadelli, who's the crew chief for Kyle Larson in the Nationwide Series, will be making his way up to the car show on Sunday, and we'll talk to John and Scott about that. We're also going to get their thoughts on the best spring sizzler that they ever saw. And if you remember, Scott Zipadelli and Greg Zipadelli have been around racing for a long, long time. Their uncle owned a race car that ran on the modified tour. Of course, Billy Carrazzo, the Sherwood Industries Sherry Cup number 12, had great drivers over the years in that car. We'll talk more with John and Scott about that coming up after national news. But back with Rocky Arbitel. Rocky, there's been a receiver put in place. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the court and all the investors, we want to put a receiver in place so we can try to monitor the money and try to keep things intact, get the bills paid, keep the bills paid. And he signed off on it. Terry did sign off on it. Everybody signed it. So that's in place. I think they'll start doing it this week. And that should help keep things going. So tracking, going through the whole season and not worry about whether we got to close it down.
All right, so the receiver's put in place now to help try to keep the money in place to keep the track going for the rest of the...
Yeah, mainly to make sure all the vendors get paid and everybody's kept up to date. Because on this agreement that we signed, Terry's pay is not supposed to be there unless all the bills are getting paid. So the taxes are paid and things are kept running.
Yeah, but it's just one of the things like everybody's season passes or back stuff.
Well, we all know you can't be perfect on it, but we're trying to, do what we can to make sure things are getting paid and people are not getting beat up.
Again, this is where, I could see what, you and all the investors are trying to do. It's at the end of the season, when it comes time for foreclosure, you don't want to have 10 vendors saying, hey, they still owe me money.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't have anything to do with us, but you're right. You're right. That's still his business.
But that's still their business, but that's why they're getting put in place, so the vendors and everything else can get paid. So
Yeah,
they can
we're
keep
trying
the
to make sure everything's paid. Exactly. Taxes and all.
Right.
Now, Rocky, since this has been going on, has people contacted you and asked, coming to you because you are the first lien holder, or
To buy me out?
Correct.
I've heard a lot about all these people are gonna, come up and buy it, but I haven't had one. Our lawyer has said only one person ever called. It was a one-day conversation, and the next day he was gone, never came into play. So no, I haven't had anybody contact me to buy me out or buy our note out. And the thing is, even if our note was bought out, okay, we have other people behind us that I would not sell out, okay? So the person buying that note, if you came in and say, Rick bought me out at 1.2, he's still gonna go to the back of the line. Because there's another guy behind me, and I wouldn't push somebody up front just for the dollar. Rick said the dollar, well, I got a little bit of credibility to me too when it comes to things like that.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, and I know you've mentioned this to me for a handful of years too. I mean, you don't want to be an owner of a racetrack, but if you had to take it over, you had a team in place.
I know enough of these race guys, and I've been contacted about 1,000 times by guys that would like to run it. Could we keep it running or running good? I don't have any doubt that I can put the right people in place. I'm not worried about that if it comes to that. I don't want it to, but I'm not worried about whether we can keep it going right.
And since this has all been going on, you've been down over the last handful of years. You've gone to some races down there.
Yeah, a few times last year.
Watched the midgets.
Yeah, we sponsored the midget there, so we went there when he was running.
Joey Pang.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rocco, once again, appreciate you coming in. We're going to take you right to 7 o'clock. Spring Scissor this weekend at Stafford Motor Speedway. You mentioned you're going to be hooked up with Jay Stewart. You're also involved with Chase. And what do you like about the Spring Scissor over at Stafford?
It's a great place to be. I'm telling you, to me, it's the best track in Connecticut, out of the three. The racing's great, and like Rick says, when you get into that SK division, wow, you got competition. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's gonna be the SKs are really gonna be the cat's meow there or whatever. I was gonna say something else, but I had to refer to that quick. But it's gonna be the division. Yeah, it's gonna be the division this year. I think the SKs at Stafford Speedway. That's gonna be the one that everybody's gonna be watching.
And I think in 2014 in the SK Modifieds at Stanford, I think you're going to see a lot of, different winners. I mean, I don't think you're going to see anybody dominate. You're going to see Keith get the victory lane. Woody's going to get the victory lane. Of course, he's with a new team for 2014. Ryan Priest, Teddy Christopher, and the list just goes on and on of Todd Owen, another good driver in the SKs up at Stafford. So you've got a good bunch of drivers in that SK Modifieds. And then you heard Chase say, I mean, there's going to be several rookie contenders in 2014.
Yeah, I was talking with Chase and Mark over there earlier that it's going to be good to see a good rookie race for to win the Rookie of the Year, because they have good guys and a group of them. And it's been a while since they've actually had this, where you have a good group of guys to contend for something. And I mean, even in the Cup, I mean, look at the Cup last year. They had two rookies. Everyone knew who was going to win the Rookie of the Year when the two rookies were announced. I mean, that was easy. But I mean, it's just one of them things where I think it's going to be a good group this year. So there's going to be something else to watch while you're watching the races.
And we talked about it earlier, the SK Lights put on some good racing action, and we've seen some good drivers come out of the SK Lights over the last handful of years. Dylan Kopek comes to mind. I mean, and the list goes on and on of some drivers that really have done well in SK Lights and have gone on. The late models put on a good show over there.
Yeah, I mean, Stafford really does a lot to keep their premier division a premier track. They like to have the best facility. When you go to the racetrack, when you go to Stafford Speedway, you go in the bathrooms, you go get the food, you go all the little things that matter. That's top of the notch at Stafford. They put the money back into the racetrack.
No question. I mean, look at their pit area. I mean, all paved, very nice. They expanded going back a few years ago. I mean, when you come into Stafford Motor Speedway, you are coming into a beautiful facility. Thompson, I mean, they have a lot of construction going on now, putting in the road course. But Thompson has been a nice racetrack as well.
It's been a nice racetrack. There's been some, things here and there, but after they're doing this huge multi-million-dollar deal up at Thompson, they're going to be right up there with, having the best of everything facility-wise and everything else also.
And, you know, I've never been, a competitor in auto racing, but, I mean, they've got Tommy Fox, who's, their race director, does a great job. Of course, Tommy, a former driver himself, who did very, very well. When Stafford picks their people and puts them in positions, whether it's officials or their flagman or other, people involved with their program, they pick the right people.
Well, just like the tech guys at Stafford, I mean, they got good tech guys there. You could talk to them. Nobody wants to get anybody thrown out or this and that and the other thing. But if there's a problem, hey, look, we might have been low, but look, we got wrecked. There was a bent shock tower. It's obvious it's right here. There's little things that could come into play, which could be understandable. But I mean, all in all, they have Chuck Sintarski, Tom Fox. I mean, they have good guys where they need good guys.
Okay. Well, once again, big thank you to you, Rock. We'll see you this coming weekend
Thank you.
over at Stafford Motor Speedway for the 43rd annual Spring Sizzle. We're going to talk more about that with John Jarvis and Scott Zippadelli. National news is about 25 seconds away. You're listening to Speedway Line Report Radio on WATR 1320 AM. We're also streaming online at SpeedwayLineReport.com, and all of Speedway Line Report Radio shows are archived. Tom Graves is pushing the buttons. National news is coming up next.
Your radio station for news, talk, and oldies. 1320
Fox News Radio, I'm Kim Russo. A warning to Russia from the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. It has days, not weeks, to abide by an international accord aimed at defusing the crisis in Ukraine.
There's no question that there's a great deal of destabilizing activity, and that Russia has influence.
No, say that.
Have engaged in that activity.
You got the
White House spokesman called for Russian military to lay down their weapons and leave government buildings. Vice President Joe Biden is in Kiev and plans to meet with government officials tomorrow. He also plans to announce technical support to help the Ukrainian government with energy and economic reforms.
Mics are, cameras are cold?
No,
they're hot?
Yeah. We're ruling from the federal court.
You gotta worry about mics on.
The Second U.S. Court of Appeals in New York says the Obama
Hey, did you put the full show on from last week, right?
Yes.
Because the week before you had it in 3 different things.
That
the laptop was shot.
Oh, okay. So now you put it up all in one shot.
Information Act
And I appreciate,
New York Times reporters and the ACLU.
when I come back, I'm gonna make mention of Robert Baggett. Next week I'll get you back on it. I just,
Targeted
what's
killing
going on?
program that came after a drone strike in Yemen killed Anwar
good stuff.
al-Awlaki, an al-Qaeda leader who'd been born in the U.S. Pam.
Thanks.
But hey, no, whenever I saw your
With
thing,
smiles on their faces and
my hand just saying, hey, ironically, they're all better.
thousands of runners taking part in the Boston Marathon.
So did you call in Friday?
The bombing that killed
Did you call in Friday?
Restaurants along Boylston Street.
Because I know the way you said that. But seriously, my hands are sweeter and better. I thought they were all big.
Maybe 5 or 20 people deep.
Sarah Underwood with Fox TV affiliate WFX.
I had a lot of people call me on that.
Kufleski winning the men's race, the first American to do it in 31 years. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
No, I was shot. Quagmire oil back there.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts,
John, you're up next.
we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-642-8896. 1-800-642-8896. That's 1-800-642-8896. 1-800-642-8896.
Going off the coast of South Korea as divers work to recover bodies from a capsized ferry, low visibility is hampering the effort.
Shut it down.
Instead of delivering Easter baskets, a young boy in Texas doled out
When do you want me to
smoke
get
detectors
shot?
this weekend.
Uh,
8-year-old Hector
15
Martinez says
Yeah, we'll talk for a little bit, introduce him, talk about this car show, talk about this girl a little bit, how long you been the president,
Monday, the
and
smoke
then,
detectors gave Hector's PlayStation 5, saving local
that's a lot of work, that's why you get to see
Another car club.
The youngster also
Coming in,
started an
guys.
organization in the Dallas area called Kids Dare to Care. On Wall Street, the Dow up 45
Mike,
points.
cameras in.
Jeff Russo, Fox News Radio.
Welcome back to the Speedway Line Report, presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut.
Your car, your choice, the Auto Body Association of Connecticut.
Welcome back, everyone, to Speedway Line Report Radio, presented to you by Shaler Acura of Manchester, Connecticut. I'm Gary Danko, right alongside my co-host, Rocket Rick Rotundo from R&R Fabrication. Earlier tonight, we heard from 16-year-old Chase Dowling, who's all set to go in an SK Modified over at Stafford Motor Speedway in 2014. We just heard from Rocky Arbitel, longtime supporter of short track racing and competitors, and now joining us in the chair here. But before I introduce my next guest, of course, Robert Baggett, aka YouTube Man, is here for the third week. We appreciate everything he's been doing. We also appreciate everything that Tom Ormsby does for us on Speedway Line Report Radio, getting this show up onto his website, speedwaylinereport.com. My next guest, he's all ready to go. He's a former modified driver. We're going to talk about his modified racing career. But tonight we're going to talk about the big car show that's coming up this coming Sunday. John Jarris is here in our studio. He's the president of the Summer Nights Car Club.
Car Club, right. We're out of Berlin, Connecticut. This is our 23rd annual benefit car show. It's at the Berlin Fairgrounds this Sunday, 7 to 3. Last year we had over 600 cars. We're planning on at least that this year. We got Scott Zipadelli coming up. We got a ton of raffle stuff, over 30 prizes from wine tasting to Six Flags to... We have a box autograph set from Wayne Carini chasing classic cars. We're also going to raffle a 42-inch flat screen TV at the end of the day. I think we have 36 trophies to hand out. It should be a great show, and they all benefit. Every year we try to pick a local child. This year it's a little girl from Southington. She's 21-month-old Daniela Cirillo. She has a rare blood disease where she has to have a blood transfusion every 2 weeks for the rest of her life. So it's a real burden on the family, and we're going to try to help out.
Good. And how many cars do you have coming?
Last year we had over 600 everywhere, anything from Corvettes to Camaros to street rods to motorcycles. We also are going to have the New England Antique Racers will be there with a display. They put on a nice display for us. And Bill Greco is going to be the Grand Marshal at the Sizzler, but his 43 Pinto will be at our show. So anybody wants to stop at our show on the way to the Sizzler, we're open, 7 o'clock, so stop by there first, walk around, check it out, and then head up to the Sizzler.
And it'll be at the Berlin Fairgrounds, Beckley Road.
Yes.
Of course, the Nutmeg Kart Club will also be in action. I believe this will be their first race of 2014.
Yes, Gary Bienkowski invited, asked to race that day, so we said sure, and they're going to be running too.
Yeah, and of course, the last few years, since 2010, I was announcing with the Nutmeg Kart Club, decided not to go back. I may do their race the weekend of the Berlin Fairgrounds, and of course I'll also be taking care of everything like I always do for the Plainville Stadium Racing Reunion, which comes up in October. But of course we have our posters in the back. We have all the information on the Spring Sizzler this coming weekend. We also have some stuff in regards to the Big Car Show this coming Sunday. Now I got to ask you, and I asked you off here, why the same weekend as the Sizzler?
Well, when we first started, it was not much other than the Sizzler and maybe 1 or 2 car shows. But now there's probably 6, 8, 10 car shows that weekend. We tried moving it to like middle of May or something, and it just didn't work out. There was even more car shows, and the weather always seemed to play a factor because we don't have a rain date. So once we got into May, it was very tough to keep a date when it wasn't raining. So we went back. Everybody says, "How come you left April? How come you left this?" All the people know this is like the first big show of the season, and they get the cars ready and they come out, and we have a good turnout that way.
And now, do you give you have awards for different the different car divisions, whether it's a street rod or take us through the process of how the day is going to take place?
Yes, we have 36 trophies, always unique. One year we had a little, looked like a little house, like a little garage, and then last year it was the one shot. I don't know if you know the one shot, the pinstripers paint. We took one of those and made it into a trophy. This year it's a kind of like a nostalgia. It has the little cup on top and stuff. It's like a nostalgia looking trophy. So the club will probably have Scott, and if Wayne's has a commitment somewhere else, they'll be there about 1-ish. We'll probably have them pick trophies, winners, just cars they like, don't have to be the, $2 million car. As long as it's a nice car and they like it, they can pick it.
And of course, if people aren't familiar with Wayne Carini, I am, because over the years he's bought a lot of parts because he owns a collision shop in Portland, Connecticut. So I've known Wayne for a long, long time. And talk about briefly, he does that TV show. Talk about it.
Yeah, chasing classic cars. He actually, where I work is ERA replicas. We build Cobra replicas. So Wayne actually sells a lot of our cars. I got to meet him through selling the cars and buying parts, and so him and I talked a lot. And I asked him if he'd come by, and he's gonna make a trip up, and I'm sure the people love to see him. We got a nice autographed box set of the DVDs, so he's gonna we'll give that out. And it'll be a good day. Hopefully, nice weather, and keep our fingers crossed.
Okay, well now we're going to get Scott Zipadelli on the line, longtime friend. You've been a longtime friend of Scott and Greg, like myself. So it'll be great to talk to Scott. Of course, Scott is the crew chief for Kyle Larson in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. This show is also being brought to you by Jim's Lawn Care Service out of Cheshire, Connecticut. If it's maintenance and lawn care that you need, then it's Jim's Lawn Care Service. He's located in Cheshire, Connecticut. Give him a call at 203-272-2054 for Jim's Lawn Care Service out of Cheshire. And J.M. Montesano Auto Body Works. They are specialists in auto collision, all work guaranteed. 390 Lombard Street, New Haven, Connecticut. Give John and his staff a call today at 203-865-1389. J.M. Montesano Auto Body Works. Once again, they are specialists in auto collision, and all of their work is guaranteed. And of course, John is a big fan of racing. He also races a car himself. I don't believe he's got out on the racetrack with his SK Modified, but he will be going to Waterford Speedway when the car is all completed. So we'll look forward to seeing John when he gets a chance to get down to Waterford Speedway. Yes, Rick?
Well, I was just going to ask, how much is it to get into the...
It's $5 for spectators, $10 for show cars.
And the military?
Free.
Okay, I saw it on the paper.
Free to military.
I'm just throwing it out there so everybody understands.
That's right. We also have a nice little swap meet. Not a great big one, but it's something to walk around, something else to look at, and a lot of food vendors, and so it'll be a good time.
Okay, now joining us on the line, he is the crew chief for Kyle Larson in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. They've already picked up a victory in 2014. Scott Zipadelli now joins us. Scott, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well. Let's before we talk auto racing, let's talk about this car show that you're going to be coming up this coming Sunday, the Summer Nights car show. And I understand that you're going to be bringing a big present with you.
Yeah, I've got a few presents and shipped them out today. Hopefully, we can raise some money for the nice family and a sweet little girl that needs a little help.
And it'll be great. I know a lot of people will look forward to seeing you coming back home. Of course, there will be a lot of people over at Stafford this weekend. Of course, the Spring Sizzler, which we'll talk a little bit more about that with you later on. Talk about coming up to this car show, and you're going to be signing autographs. Wayne Carini's also going to be there. Have you ever been to one of John's car shows in the past, Scott?
Yeah, it's been a long time though. It's been I don't know, close to 15 years since I left Berlin and came to North Carolina. But I try to get home quite often. I see John, I see a lot of the guys when I do get home, but it's really cool to be able to go back home and then see those people and try to get back to a little girl that needs help and family that's in need.
Sure.
I have a special needs daughter. She's 18 with cancer, so I kind of know what they're going through as far as being in the hospital all the time and blood work and tests and transfusions. So anytime you can give back and help a family, it means a lot.
Now, John was telling us a little bit earlier that they have, 600 cars, John, coming?
600 or more. We've had upwards of 900 one year.
Wow, that's a lot of cars. And right now, it looks like the weather's going to be fantastic, John.
That's great.
Which is great.
That's what we want to hear.
Well, that's the smartest thing to do is do it the Stafford weekend. Normally they get good weather.
Right. Yeah,
Exactly.
They never rain, I don't think, do they?
Barely ever.
Yeah, barely.
Hey, Scott, as we're talking about, muscle cars and street rods and all that kind of stuff, any kind of street rod or muscle car that you have?
No, I don't have. I sold all of my toys a couple of years ago, and I've just been focusing primarily on work and family, and I always like to go to dirt races when I'm off, or car shows, and street rod drive-ins, that kind of stuff. But I don't have any at the moment. Hopefully I won't leave Berlin with another one either.
I don't know. Maybe you'll drive one home instead of flying home, huh? No, huh? I will say one thing. When I started, I made some calls to people to come up, and somebody that we can maybe draw some spectators. And Scott just jumped right at it. He said, "Yeah, I'll be there." Even though he's racing Friday night, he's gonna make his way up Saturday. He says, "Yeah, I'll be there." So I really appreciate Scott just jumping right in.
Sure. Scott Zipadelli is on the line with us. He is the crew chief for Kyle Larson in the Nationwide Series. The phone number that you need tonight, 203-757-1320, 203-757-1320. Don't forget, all of our shows are archived at speedwaylinereport.com. Back on the line with Scott. So, Scott, you guys race on Friday night at Richmond. So when do you make your way up to Connecticut?
I fly Wednesday night to Richmond. We practice Thursday, race Friday. I'll fly home Friday night, and then Saturday morning or Sunday morning I'll jump a plane and fly up to Connecticut for the day.
And you're right. And Scott, for people that don't know, I mean, you had a racing career where you were actually a driver back running Legends, and at one point you ran a late model.
Well, I tried. I had some fun. I think I realized when I got to a certain age that to become successful and do this for a living, you gotta have deep pockets, and you gotta do all the right things and meet all the right people. And I definitely knew that I probably wasn't ever gonna get that opportunity. So I focused on the management side and crew chief, and that's what I'm doing now. And I ran a few races about a year ago, and I really, really enjoyed myself, but I kind of knew that I probably shouldn't do this anymore,
Because of time-wise, or just the expense now of what it takes to go racing, Scott?
Well, probably both. It's so much fun, but you got to keep yourself away from it because you're afraid you're going to get hooked on it, and then you're going to be thinking about racing on the nights you're off and not focusing on your work. And you will do what I do. You just got to be into it 100%. You can't be sidetracked with anything else.
Yeah, and doing the crew chief thing, you're doing the crew chief thing, and you're doing very well with that, and you got a real hot gun there that you're crew chiefing.
He's a nice kid. We seem to be working well together. Our chemistry's good. We were pretty performed pretty well right out of the box from Daytona test up until last race. So right now we're having a blast. Everything's going well. The sponsors are happy, and Chip Ganassi Racing, they're happy with our performance. And Cartwheel and Target, without all their support, wouldn't be possible. So right now the world is a happy place.
We're talking with Scott Zipadelli. He's on the line with us. I'm Gary Danker, right alongside my co-host, Rocket Rick Rotundo from R&R Fabrication. John Jarris, a former modified driver. He's also the president of the Summer Nights Card Club. He's here in our Waterbury studio talking about this big show coming up. Back on with Scott. Scott, how would you describe Kyle Larson?
You know, if you met him, if you didn't know he was a race car driver, you'd probably be surprised he was. He's very soft-spoken. He's funny and kind of witty, but very quiet at the same time. He's very, very mature and calm. I really like working with him because he's very calm in the car and he never gets excited, never gets rattled. Even when, you know, we get caught for speeding, we sat on the pole at Bristol and led the first part of the race and got caught speeding, leaving pit stall on our first stop. It took us the whole race to get back to finish second, and he never got rattled. He never expressed his frustration or anything like that. Anytime we've had any kind of adversity, he just remained calm and cool and quiet, and just went on with his racing, you know. So I really enjoy that part of it. I don't really have to coach him or calm him down or give him a pep talk either. You know, we just show up and do what we do.
And you could say he's a wheel man, but it's funny, he can do donuts without a steering wheel.
And he's been told by NASCAR not to do that anymore also. He got told by Mike Helton himself, I don't want to see that steering wheel come out of the window anymore. So it'll be interesting when he wins his first Cup race if he does it, because
you gotta have a spare in there for him.
For it and worry about it later. So he probably will.
Scott, talk about that win that you guys got back a few weeks ago with your driver, Kyle Larson, in the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Auto Club Speedway in California.
You know, I was very surprised our first win came at Fontana because it's a really difficult place, and usually it seems to be the same three drivers that dominate the nationwide races there. But we had a really good practice. Everything went well. We had tune our car. The racetrack changes tremendously from practice day to race day, and we had to adjust on the car throughout the first few stops of the race. And you know, towards the later part of the race, we got more track position, and I made some changes to the car, and it really took off well on the beginning of a run, where that's what we kind of lacked at the beginning of the race. It was good on long run, but it didn't take off on the beginning. So once you got clean air, the kid's so good at finding the line on the racetrack that works for his car, and keep the speed up throughout the corners. And he was able to hold off Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, which two of the best at that racetrack, you know.
Sure.
Hey, but surprised, but really, it was really good for us because it really kept our momentum going and gave us a lot of confidence to continue in the season.
Talking with Scott Zibadelli, crew chief for Kyle Larson in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And Scott, how is he when it comes to relaying information to you, whether it's from practice or even during the race itself?
He's very simple. You know, for instance, like Fontana, he just said, I'm loose. I'm just a little bit too loose right there. But you can never really get how loose are you. You know, are you a 10 loose or a 5 loose, you know? So it's taken me a little bit of time to try to learn his voice, you know, and I basically have to look at lap times and just kind of go off of instinct and ask him specific questions. So we're learning that about each other. Like I say, he's very simple. Coming from sprint cars, you know, you just, yeah, I'm a little loose, and you just tighten it up a little bit, and you just go out. But you know, he's learning now that crew chief can do a lot of different things to work on your race car. You have to pinpoint some more specific problems. So we're gaining on that. He tells me what I need to know, but I guess would like to have a little more information, and we're working on that. And as we get closer to that, I think we get better.
Now, with him running in the Cup Series, we've seen what he's done over there so far, so good. In giving that information to you, I mean, will you stick around to watch him, whether it's a Sunday afternoon, just to hear him on the radio, so it will help you learn him a little bit better?
I don't stay for the cup races, but what I do is I listen to his cup practices through my scanner and my radio, and I go over to the cup garage and hang out with his guys and his crew chief Shine. And Shine does the same with me. He listens to our practices and our race, and we share notes and some information to try to help each other throughout the weekend. And that really has helped both programs tremendously. I would say without Shine's help and his engineering's help, sharing information and trying to make our cars as close as we possibly can, I think it would have been a much taller task for them and I to have the success we've had this year. So it's definitely been a great opportunity for both teams to work together and for one goal, to make Kyle the best he can be and try to win races for us.
Exactly. And Scott, you've been around the sport for a long, long time, like your brother Greg and, of course, John and myself and pretty much everybody in this room. To see the young drivers like your driver, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, we've seen what he's done already. Back many years ago, it was not like that. These young drivers coming into, back then, what was the Busch Series. These drivers that they're coming from short track racing got a ton of talent, and they're moving up and they're getting the job done.
And I'll tell you, one of the most important things is they're nice kids. They are really nice kids that come from really nice families, and they're good role models for our younger fans to look up to. Where, I think for quite a few years we kind of lost some of that, and now there's a lot of young racers that can look up to Kyle and along with Chase Elliott, who's tremendous talent and a super sweet kid. They can look up to these guys and say, I could get there if I just do all the right things.
Right. Scott, a couple more minutes left. Of course, you're going to be up at the Summer Nights Car Show this coming Sunday, April 27th at the Berlin Fairgrounds, 410 Beckley Road. Of course, you'll be signing autographs there. Wayne Carini from Chasing Classic Cars will also be on hand at 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Rain or shine, you're got some presents that you're going to be bringing along. I think people will be pretty impressed with that. But of course, it's also Sizzler Weekend over at Stafford Motor Speedway. And I know you and your brother Greg have been to many spring sizzlers like myself and John. What is the most memorable spring sizzler that you were either a part of or you were a fan of?
Man, I got too many of them, to be honest with you. I've got a picture in my office at home with Brett Bodine in Victory Lane. We drove my uncle's car at 12, and I was probably 9 or 10 years old in Victory Lane there. So I see that almost every day when I'm working on my desk. But I got plenty of other ones with Mike McLaughlin and some of the other great modified drivers. But just to be at Stafford is pretty cool.
Absolutely, no question about it. Well, Scott, I want to thank you for spending some time with us on Speedway Line Report Radio. I know the people that are going to come out to the Summer Nights Car Show this coming Sunday are going to look forward to seeing you and seeing all the great race cars that John and his staff have put together there. And once again, thanks for being a part of the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Do I get a cool car to drive for the weekend?
Sure, what do you want? Pick one.
Something really cool. Really loud and really cool.
Call your pal Roger, maybe he can let you borrow one of his.
There you go.
Yeah.
Scott, thank you so much for being with us tonight. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Scott Zipadelli joining us tonight on this edition of Speedway Line Report Radio. We've got about 2 minutes left. Of course, Tom Graves, who is right across from me, he's been with me for many, many years. And hey, Rick, if you had to, so far he didn't have any audio to take care of tonight, so, but all in all.
No, he was good today. He had a couple little stumbles that we like to point out just.
Give me some credit, give me some credit.
I'm not dishing you.
But anyways, no, Tom does a great job, and we appreciate everything he does for us. Okay, so car show coming up.
Car show Sunday.
And it's
hopefully
gonna be
nice
rain or
weather.
shine?
Yeah, not rain or shine, but we're looking for a lot of shine, so we get a lot of cars.
Hey, before we go, we got Scott, one of Scott's a moment over at Stafford Motor Speedway, a memorable moment. You got one?
Not one I was in, but I'd have to say the first or second Sizzler when, you got like a 120, 130 cars trying to go for, was it like 20, 30 spots in it's amazing, you know, just there's cars everywhere and they're all modifieds.
And that's when the spring scissor was 80 laps.
Yep, that was, I think it paid like 10,000 or 20,000 to win, probably 3 times what it pays now.
Yeah, back in the day, it was money.
Yeah, it costs 8 times as much to run there and for half the purse, you know.
Well, John, thanks for being a part of Speedway Learning Report Radio tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Big thank you to all of my guests tonight, Rocky Arbitello, Chase Dowling, John Jerish, and Scott Zippadelli. For all of us, Robert Baggett, the YouTube man, Tom Graves, Ricky Rotundo, I'm Gary Danko. We'll talk to you next Monday night.
Preceding has been a GMD production. Don't forget to listen to Gary next Monday night for more auto racing news on the Speedway Line Report.
Yeah, great.
And
Thank
in
you.
case you didn't catch the entire program tonight, check the archive shows at Speedway Line Report.
Thank you again. Appreciate it. Thank you again.